All right, let's look at, excuse me, let's look at the uh, left of the chart. So we have, where are we at? We're a little bit in the red right here. Looks like the 20 TTM, that's the 9 TM, as you can tell here. That's the 20, that's the 50, that's the 100, that's the 200. So as it starts to 20, it starts to rise. It's going right for that 20 right here. And we have the 9 TTM. So right here is the 9 and the 20. And this is why it's rising. And the red is going down. So then what happens is the 9 starts to come down a little bit while this is rising. And this is why we have this little sideways pattern right here. And then it takes off a little bit like it does right here as the 20 is going up. But this 50 is still, it's gaining some strength. It's going upward, but it hasn't crossed yet, and that's why we're hanging up on top of it. But let's look at the 50 moving average. The SMA pink is over the EMA, which is showing weakness. Well, that's perfect with this right here. So now what happens is the 20 starts to weaken right here, and it comes back down and starts playing right in the middle of the web. Because we have the 100 and the 200, and all those are showing support right here. So these are showing the support of the moving averages. And then all of a sudden we have this little takeoff right here of the 9, and that's what it does right where the 50's at. But so now we're right here above the 50, and of course that's why it's above the 50, because this is going up. Boom, it comes down. It starts coming down, but that 50's still protecting it. And then all of a sudden it crosses over the 9, it crosses over the 20, 0 line, but the 50 is still there. So even though it crossed, it hasn't really confirmed right here. And that's why it just comes right back up, because that 50 at 200, even though it's almost dead, and that 100, that's not penetrating. That's why it comes back up to that 50. So then all of a sudden it starts coming back down again. Now that 50 is really weakening, right? So all of a sudden we have the 100, which is just, hardly anything there. The 50 is hardly anything there. And it just collapses right here. So you have kind of like a royal flush right here. But we still have that 200 TTM, and that's why it just doesn't keep going. So then we want to look at it and we want to say, well, what do we have? So now all of a sudden this 9 starts coming up against that 20, and boom, that's why we have the sideways action. And then the 20 starts going up, but the 50 and the 50 and the 100, but they're very weak. They don't have a lot of strong bars to them, and it shoots back up. But this is why we have this little sideways action right here, because that 200 is still kind of heading down a little bit. And then we get up, and then here we got the 9, and it's coming down, and these are going up, and that's why I have the sideways action. And all of a sudden the 9 turns back up. We're all relatively strong here. They're all moving up. Boom, it goes up more and more and more. And then that 9 once again is you got the 20 going up. That 9 all of a sudden starts giving conflict, and it starts to go sideways and then slams back down to the 50, because the 9 right here and the 20 is moving down. So, but it doesn't really confirm and really comes back up to 20, because the 20 is not ready yet. And then we have a little sideways action. And then because the 20 is going down, but the 50 is going up, that's why it's on top of the 50 having sideways. So the down 20 and the up 50 is creating that sideways between the 20 and the 50. So all of a sudden we're still going down, and once again we crash right here, but not ready. And what does it do? Comes right back up to the 50. Why? Because the 50 is not ready. Gets a little sideways action because we have the 9, the 20 are going up, that 50 is going down. So why? We have now the conflict of those two going up. That's why it's pushing up, but it doesn't want to break. And the reason why it doesn't want to break is because that 50 is going down, slam back down. And then, now we're turning, and now these are going, the 9's going down, the 20's going down, the 50's going down, the 100's going down, the 200 days going down, and boom, now we're in this trend. Do you see this?